Good evening, Rabbi. We were asked by one of the local rabbis regarding a person who married a Goya. There was a Jewish man who married a non-Jewish woman, and he lived with her all his life until the day he died. So the question is now that he passes away, how do we relate to this person? What do we do for him after his passing? How do we mourn for him? How do we eulogize him? Do we eulogize him? Do we mourn for him? That's the question that we were asked. So we found, first of all, number one, we have to know one thing, that marrying a Goya is a very, very big sin, a non-Jewish woman, or the same also applies if a Jewish woman marries a non-Jewish man. These are considered to be very great sins. What is the punishment for a person who marries a Goya, a non-Jewish woman? It says in the Gemara, Masechet Sanhedrin, Daf Pei Bet, it brings from the book Malachi, the prophet Malachi over there, that the prohibition of marrying a non-Jew is punished with karet. The person is cut off from the Jewish people. We also find in the Agadot, in the Midrash, that a person who does this, who marries a non-Jewish woman and didn't do tshuva, he never left her, he stayed with her all his life, his punishment is that he has no portion in the world to come. It says, right, that comes Yitzhak Avinu and takes out all the people from Ginam, all the sinners, the Jewish sinners, except the one who married Goya, a non-Jewish woman. He cannot take out those because their orla, their foreskin, which they were circumcised with, comes back on them, and they look like a goy, so he can't recognize them as a Jew. So therefore he leaves them there. So we see from there the severity of marrying a non-Jewish woman. So therefore, according to this, the Rambam also in Hilchot Isurei Biyah, in the 12th perek, in the Halacha 6, he also writes over there that a man who does this, who marries a non-Jewish woman, is cut off from the Jewish people. His soul is cut off, and therefore this is the Halacha, obviously. Now the question is, if he did this, how do we relate to him at his death? What do we do? Number one, it says in the book Shevet HaLevi, also in the Yalkut Yosef, and also there's a book called Ikra Dechaye. He writes over there that a person who did this, we don't mourn for him because he's considered to be an ultimate sinner, somebody who totally left Judaism, somebody who abandoned Judaism. So he has no really any more any tie to Judaism. So therefore, we don't mourn for him at all. It says in Yalkut Yosef that they should do like sit for 1 hour and mourn for him for 1 hour. Sit like like do some kind of a temporary mourning for a short time. Nevertheless, we don't, in a general sense, everybody agrees that pretty much that we don't mourn for this person. So that's one thing. The question is also regarding should we say for him Kaddish? Should we say for him Hashkava? These things are meant to elevate his soul. Should we say for him Divrei Torah? The children, right, the sons that he left, should they read the Haftarah for him, like it's customary to do for people who passed away? So the answer is, Rabbi, certainly yes. Where do we learn this from? We learn this from this story of Rabbi Akiva, who found a certain person who was a big sinner, and he did all kinds of things to help him out. He taught his son how to say all these things for him, Kaddish, and to say the Divrei Torah, and to say the Haftarah, and all these things, and to answer Baruch Hu. Even though this person was a total sinner, he was a totally wicked man, didn't keep any mitzvot, nevertheless, he was able to elevate his soul and save him from punishment in Gehinnom by telling his son, instructing his son to do all these things for him. Where we find this? We find this in Masechet Kala Rabati in the second parak, and also we find this in the Zohar Kadosh, the Zohar Chadash. We find over there. He also writes about this there. So we see from there that the truth is that a person should try, even though his father or mother, right, married a non-Jew, he should still try to help the elevation of his soul, because he can still accomplish a lot by doing Kaddish and saying Divrei Torah and reading the Haftarah and answering Baruch Hu and being the Chazan for the prayers and all these things that a person does for the elevation of the soul of his parents. He should still do these things because they still do work. Even though his father was a great sinner, nevertheless he can still save him from great punishment by doing all these things. So therefore a person should not refrain from doing these things for a parent who married a non-Jew, that's for sure. There's also a question regarding should we eulogize this person, right? So the truth is that the Gemara tells us, the Talmud teaches us, and also we find in the book of Mishlei, right, the wisest of all men, Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, he writes there that we're not allowed to praise the wicked. So therefore, since this person was ultimately wicked by marrying a non-Jew, he got cut off from the Jewish people. So therefore, what's there to praise about him, right? So there's no reason to eulogize a person like this and say good things about him? How can you say good things about a sinner like this? So there's nothing to say good about him. The only thing we can do is to salvage whatever we can salvage by trying to help his soul with all these things that we said, right? Kaddish and Haftarah and the Divrei Torah, by the children, by the sons of this person, if he had leftover sons, and so forth and so on. All these things, as we mentioned, they can still try to do these things, but when it comes to so there, we see, right, there's a split over here. There's a dichotomy. On the one hand, we try to help his soul by saying Kaddish, by saying Divrei Torah for his elevation, the elevation of his soul, by saying Hashkava, by saying Baruch Hu, by saying Haftarah, by saying all these things that they do to go up to be Chazan, to be the leader of the prayers during the morning period of this person, right, and during his Yortzeit as well. All these things we should definitely try to do if the person that he left over, the son, is fit to do these things. If he's not fit to do them, he doesn't know how to read, he doesn't know how to read properly, he doesn't know how to do these things, so he can't really do. He has to first learn how to do them and then do them. But the point is that when it comes to helping him with these things, we should try to help him, because these things are for his soul, to save his soul from whatever happens over there, right? The punishment, the great punishment that he's getting. So these things we should do. When it comes to things which are for us, the mourning, so there's nothing to mourn about, right? Person is a wicked person like this. We have no reason to mourn for him, as we find in the Shulchan Aruch, as we find in all the poskim, that a person who's an ultimate sinner like this is a person who detached himself from the Jewish people. There's no reason to mourn for him. For what? Just the opposite, right? It says in Shulchan Aruch, when a person like this dies, what we should do is be happy and be joyous, because we didn't lose anything. That's what it says. It maybe sound radical, but this is actually the halacha according to the poskim. This is the way it is. So on the one hand, as we said, right, we do these things to help his neshama to be elevated, to be saved, and also, but regarding the things that we do for ourselves, the mourning, we don't have to mourn for him at all. And also regarding, as we said, the issue of eulogizing him. What's there to eulogize, right? We can't eulogize a person like that, because nothing good we can say about him. He was a sinner. He was a wicked person. You're not allowed to praise the wicked. So therefore, when it comes to eulogizing him, we're not going to eulogize him. So we see over there, Rabbi, that this is the best way to probably to deal with this issue, to go like a fine line like this. On the one hand, we try to help him. On the other hand, right, we have no obligation towards him from our side. So Hashem should help us, that we should be saved from these things. We should never see, again, right, another Jewish person, God forbid, who's going to marry a non-Jew or this kind of thing, since the punishment is so severe for this, and we should never see any Jew that cuts himself off from the Jewish people like this. As the Chazal tell us, that a person who marries a non-Jew is considered to be like he married Avodah Zarah, he married an idol. He married the idol himself. Can you imagine? He got married to an idol, got married to idolatry. That's what it's considered to be. So this is considered to be the ultimate sinner. What can be worse than that? He's totally attached to the idolatry by marrying a non-Jew. This is the way it is, Rabbi. Kadosh Baruch Hu should give us good tidings and good news, and we should see only good things. Amen, amen. Chazaku Baruch.